This morning was quite the adventure for me in so many ways, and it continued this morning, as you saw as I stood here before you. Accepting my humanness and being who I am, doing what I love, and I am very grateful to have been welcomed here. I've long been a practitioner of nature religions and pagan faiths, and Reverend Laura asked me if I could do the June 19th service this morning, and I got all excited and immediately said yes, because I thought, summer solstice. And as I sat to craft today's service, I became aware of all that this day holds. I got online and I looked up what holidays fall on June 19th. There was a list, a mile long. Two of my favorites that I'd just like to note is today is National Martini Day and National Eat an Oreo Day. So, something for everyone. What I really wanted to talk about, though, today is who we are and how it is with our spirits. Finding those fun holidays really gave voice to that conversation for me. It reminded me that in the midst of all that is, we still have to take time to find joy. While embarking on another part of the journey toward today, I discovered some really interesting things about summer. Did you know that the number of suicides in this country increases in summertime? That means that while many of us are welcoming the sun and getting excited about the days to come, there are many of us that bear the burden of despair in ways a lot of us can't even imagine. The rising temperature causes our stress levels to rise as well. Our bodies actually function differently in the summertime than they do in other seasons of the year. It seems a season of busy. It seems a season of doing. And while it is true, in times past, it was a season of tending to the garden and the livestock and the fruits of the day, as it were, it was also a time of mid-afternoon sabbatical when the sun was highest in the sky. A time of practicing compassion for oneself and the world around us. A time of working with the movement of the sun and not trying to make the sun move. And in the midst of our summer season, there are so many other things happening in the world. We live in a world overwhelmed with grief and pain, and a world that's constantly fighting for better, for just, for more. A world that never stops moving. And sometimes it feels like just when we've gotten a win, another battle presents itself. And that, friends, is why coming together to honor who we are and how it is with our spirits is so important. And maybe there are times when we can't come together. And that's really what I'd like to talk about today. Are there things we can do that we can help ourselves and each other remember our connectedness? Are there practices that you use in your daily lives? Are there practices that we can offer to others in difficult times? And I'd like to open the floor for discussion. I want to hear from all of you today. What are the practices that you use to remember who you are and to honor who you are and how it is with your spirit on a day-to-day basis? And this is also open to anyone online, so anyone like to start? John. Bruce, or Byron is coming around with the...
Well, with the coming heat, people are aghast that I'm outside doing things, but I live in a cold, dark house 6 months out of the year, and I'm so grateful for this heat. And also, anyone who doesn't appreciate it has never changed a water pump on a vehicle on the street in the middle of January. So I'm grateful that it's summer and that the heat is here.
Hi, I'm Tammy, and I daily get up and walk with my dog, and he teaches me how to be stable and happy and content. And that's all I can say about that. It's fabulous.
Nice. Byron.
I'm Merle, and in order to avoid the heat, we get up early during the heat to walk and to be outside. And we find that, there's magic out there early in the morning. To Osprey this morning, and every morning there's some magical gift in the early hours.
I do have something from online.
Okay.
Jesse?
For me, ancestors and elders are a huge part of my spirituality. And that didn't necessarily develop until I started doing genealogy. And I find that now I try to do some daily, and it's not necessarily my own. I also do have a small business doing it for other people, but I consider all of those who have passed before us to be ancestors. And so it's a way of communing with them and learning more about them. And it gives me a chance to be thankful. So thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. And Kathy Niedert online would also share. Please unmute.
Thank you. Each morning after feeding my cat and eating an apple, I sit on my bed. My cat joins me. I give thanks for my faculties, being able to remember and think, and my eyesight and etc. I give thanks for a good night's rest, another day of life, my relations, the winged ones, four-leggeds, the swimmers, fruits, vegetables, etc. And then I ask for prayers for people that are in my life who I love and care about. And so it goes from that level to the national level and beyond. And so it's a good half hour of connecting with what's important to me and praying for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
Anyone else?
Janice Sancott online.
I start my day similar to what Kathy does. I do some gentle stretching exercises in bed before I sit up. And then I reflect on thanking my body for doing what it's doing and the areas around me. And I am thankful for the previous day. And then I extend my wishes for good things to all of my friends. And I just find it a nice way to ease into the morning, knowing that I've said thank you for the previous day.
I'm Beth, and I don't have any pets that need my attentions, but I've planted extensive gardens in urns and pots at my new residence, and they require a lot of attention. And now with this heat, we'll especially need more watering. And I've learned in the past couple of years that so many people in my building now recognize me as the garden lady, and it has pulled me out of what was pretty much a reclusive way of living. And I've met people because I've been out in gardening and have even had some ask if they could help. And that would be great if we could get some of the people to be more active in my building, so.
Anyone else? Do we have anyone else online at all that would like to say anything?
Don't see anybody waving. Please unmute if you are wanting to say something and I've missed you. Otherwise, it looks like we're good here.
Okay. Anyone else in person? So one of the things that I wanted to offer this morning, in addition to all of these wonderful things, I've heard nature a lot, and that does remind us, doesn't it, that we are all connected. I also have a meditation practice with a friend of mine in Omaha, Nebraska. And though we are miles apart, every day we send each other a text at the same time, and we know that we are doing the same thing together. And that's a sense of connectedness. Another practice that you can use that's easy, especially when you're in the moment, is breathing. You saw me do it earlier. Because that breath reminds us that we come from something bigger than just ourselves. And when that's settled in our bodies, we can be in our bodies and we can remember that connectedness. Another one of my favorite practices that a friend of mine from spiritual direction class taught me was having coffee with God in the morning, or whatever you want to call it. I like to sit on my front porch with a cup of coffee or tea in those wee hours of the morning when no one else is up and it is quiet, and just be with what is, because that's part of the summertime legacy that we have in our Western culture, isn't it? That we do. We spend our whole lives doing, and to take a moment to just be on a daily basis and remember who we are and to honor how it is with our soul. And if it is stressful, if we're having a hard time, do you have a support network to reach out to? Do you have someone you can call? Do you have someone that you can go for a walk with, or talk on the phone with, or send a text to? Those things are important, and if you don't, I would really invite you to find that. And your animal companions, they're some of the best. We have cats right now, so they're our bosses, not our companions, and that makes for an interesting day as well, having to do what we're told there and take care of our own life. So I thank everybody for sharing this morning. I appreciate hearing from you and the practices that you use on a daily basis. And for all of our practices, we must remember our privilege. For every one of us that are able to engage in any of these activities, there's someone else who is not. I don't say that to make us feel guilty or to say that we shouldn't engage in these practices. I say that as inspiration and motivation to engage more, to take more restoration and more joy from your practices, because in doing so, we are able to give more, and we can live our responsibility of dismantling oppression and co-creating a just world for all. Amen. Blessed be.